All right, welcome everybody. My name is Noah. I'm the race director for the Mogollon Monster 100, and we are stoked to have you this week. And I'm going to go through our website because there's a lot to go over, and I figure I'll just kind of give you a rundown and maybe go over any kind of confusion or anything that might be there. So hopefully I can answer any questions you had coming into the weekend. I know there was also a lot of people that signed up late. Probably in the last 2 weeks, we had a good chunk of people sign up from canceled races, which is a total bummer with the crazy fires and stuff going on around the country. But we are excited to have you. We're glad you chose the Mogollon Monster. You will not be disappointed. This place is pretty unbelievable, and we are super psyched about the point to point. So anyway, glad to have you and glad to have everybody else that was already joining us. So I'm going to, like I said, I'll just go through the website. As you notice, there's a ton of information, and I'll kind of just go through what I think is important right now, and we'll be on our way. Starting Friday night, packet pickup. So that'll be at the Old County Inn, which is in the town of Pine. Pine is just under 2 hours from downtown Phoenix or from Phoenix area. It's a cute little town. We call it the gateway to the Mogollon Rim. There's the Arizona Trail connector there. There's tons of trails around there, which is what you'll be running up, down, and around on Saturday and Sunday. So pack a pickup just outside at their Old County Inn. It's a really cool little pizzeria. They have a good amount of craft beers, and I believe they have a full bar too, if you're interested in that. They usually have live music and bags and stuff to do outside. So we'll have everything there for about 3 hours. Your bags and stuff will be there, your bibs, everything that comes with it. If you are not able to make it, we will have all of the bibs for each individual race at your starts, not at the shuttle pickup. It'll be at the start line. So if you're starting in the 100-mile, you will get your bib Saturday morning at your start line, 260 trailhead. Same thing for the 100K. You'll get your bib at the Fish Hatchery trailhead, 42K at the Pine trailhead on Sunday. We will have it, all three of those at the start line if you're not able to make it Friday. Similarly, if you aren't able to make it on Friday, or even so, because we're not taking drop bags on Friday, but you'll bring your drop bag to the start line. So it'll go on the shuttle with you, or if you're getting dropped off, it'll come with you to the start line. We'll disperse them from the start line. So bibs, drop bags to the start line where you will start your race. Also, something that's new with this point to point is the shuttle. So it's kind of a long shuttle, but it's about 45 minutes for the 100-miler. So the point where you guys will be jumping in is, sorry, I'm trying to find it on the website here, but I think I would know where it was, but anyway, where you guys are going to go is to it's called the Old Pine parking area is what we call it. It's just a big, huge open lot about 2 miles south of the town of Pine, about a mile south of the Pine trailhead. It's on the west side of the highway, and everybody will park there that's taking the shuttle. We're not allowed to drive, and because it's a point to point, it just makes more sense for everybody to get shuttled there so you finish back near your car. So the shuttles will pick up early morning. The times are on the website. I think it's like 4:45 in the morning for the 100-milers, and then the 100K is like 11:30 or 11:45. They're both about a 45-minute drive, give or take 5 or 10 minutes. They'll drop you off at the start line, bring your drop bags for those. It's just school buses with the Payson Elementary District, which you'll drive through, and that'll get you to the start line. Your car's there. You can camp Friday night in this lot. It is surrounded by trees, and there's some other little forest roads, so you could camp in there, like dispersed free camping. We're supposed to have a couple porta potties dropped off there just for convenience, and we'll have somebody there race morning to kind of assist with the bus, but they kind of know what they're doing, and all you got to do is hop on and make your way to the start line. 42K, your shuttle is super close. It's right across the street to the Pine Trailhead. It's like 0.65 miles if you were to walk on the Arizona Trail. There's a map online, which I'm failing to find right now, but it's there. And oh, here it is. I did it. Okay, so this is the Pine Trailhead where everybody runs through. The 42K starts their race here, and then this is the trail kind of here. It goes across on the High Line. And then everybody else will run down here, go under this tunnel, and then run up into the town. This is like the final hurrah for you guys. So, but what I was talking about with the 42K is this is the Arizona Trail, and you're all parking right here. It's just a huge dirt lot, and then these are little roads you can kind of camp off if you want, but you can camp right in here. You'd be able to fit trailers if you had it or whatever. Just be courteous so you don't take up a ton of space, so that the buses can maneuver and people can get in and out. The bus will pick up kind of in this top corner. There's two big, I think they're like water containers or something there, and they'll be near there where they'll pick up and then they'll drive you out of here. Okay. There's no sign here. We'll put an A-frame for parking, but there's no sign telling you what it is or anything. So everybody parks here and gets shuttled from here. The 42K, like I was saying, you can cross here and walk over if you didn't want to shuttle, but your shuttle basically will run continuously from 6 to 7 a.m. from the Pine Strawberry School District. Okay, so I think that's good for shuttles. Pack a pickup, drop bags. I mentioned that to bring them to your start. There's 3 for the 100 miler. There's 1 for the 100K, and 42K has no drop bags. So pretty easy there. Then moving on to aid stations. There's a lot of aid stations throughout, and because we understand that this course is going to be pretty difficult, which we're also excited about, is, we like to stock our aid stations pretty well. Hopefully you guys agree. And most of the aid stations later on will have more substantial food than your sweet and salty snacks. So every aid station will have something basic, like even peanut butter and jelly, pretzels, chips, gummy worms, M&Ms, stuff like that, like your typical, I think, ultra. And then we have 3 soda options, which are on the website. It's Coke, Mountain Dew, ginger ale. And then we have Gnarly as our electrolyte drink. I think I have Gatorade up there too, but we don't always have Gatorade now. We're more kind of going the Gnarly route. So those will all be there at every aid station. And then certain aid stations, starting with Horton, which is mile 20 for the 100 milers, will have stuff like turkey sandwiches or some more substantial food so your belly doesn't get sick of the same stuff over and over again. And then as it goes on in the nighttime, we'll have stuff like ramen, grilled cheese. I'm trying to remember some of the stuff Patty has. She has it's kind of crazy, the stuff she has planned for you guys. So I think it'll be good. And she's very spends a ton of time to make sure that she's thoughtful and to make sure that you guys get to the finish line. And she does an unbelievable job with that. So if you see Patty Curry out there, her, Jen Gustafson, they'll both be at Washington Park. Laurel is another one. She'll be at Horton or C. Caney. It might be the first aid station, and then she'll be at the finish line as well. They all spend a ton of time planning for you and making sure that you guys have food that not only will get you from A to B, but also tastes good and kind of keeps you going, keeps your energy level high. So anyway, there'll be more kind of substantial food throughout and at night there's stuff as simple as like hot water or broth or coffee or hot chocolate, stuff like that. So if you don't see stuff, please ask, because there's a good chance we have it. We have gels at some aid stations. We don't guarantee it. If we do have them, they'll be the Goo brand. So that'll be there. And bring whatever other stuff. If you're specific to certain foods or diets, then that's why we have drop bags, and we kind of expect you to take care of yourself on that. So we do our best to have everything we can, but we understand people have dietary restrictions, and we expect you to take care of that so you're not disappointed on race day and you're prepared to finish your race as well. I think that's it for aid stations. You'll see on this list, there's quite a bit of information. This goes for all 3 distances. I include the pacers, crew access, drop bags, and then cutoffs. And all these cutoffs are for leaving an aid station. This isn't like run into an aid station at 5:30, stay till 6 p.m., and then keep going. This is you're at Buck Springs and out the door by 5:30. Like, that's what we need to make sure everything stays on track, and so you actually get to the finish line. We've spent quite a bit of time adjusting these, and we think we have it pretty good. So we'll kind of go from there. But question that comes up a lot, I've noticed the 100K in this chart here, it says there's pacers. There's one here at number 10 at Dickerson Flat, which is the crew zone. So you can get up a pacer the last 16 miles, 15, 16 miles. Okay. So that's another spot. We always put the Pine Trailhead in there because a lot of times what we get is families that are like, I'm not a runner, but I would love to spend the last 1.8 or 1.6 miles with my son or my dad or something, So we just put it in there so people know, like, hey, you can run it in with them. It's almost entirely paved. There's one little little stretch of grass. It's just kind of like the victory lap. We've always thought it was a cool thing to finish in the town of Pine and kind of run down through the little town and people kind of bring in their cowbell and stuff. So that's why we do that still. Maybe at the end of your race, you'll think it's unnecessary, but hopefully afterwards you look back at it and be happy. Um, the whole race kind of put together. Um, okay, so kind of on the course, I'm not going to go too much detail because it's 100 and something miles, unique miles. So I don't want to get too in depth with it, but hopefully you've had a good chance to look over it. There's a ton of explanation online. It's a lot of climbing. It's going to be rugged terrain. There's going to be rocks and manzanita and it's going to be exposed. The weather's going to be a little bit warmer on the bottom of the rim, and then at night you'll be cold. So it'll be kind of a little bit of everything. It does look like there won't be any weather as far as rain or anything like that, so that's good. But be prepared for, bring a hat or bring a buff or, head wrap for your neck and stuff like that to keep yourself cool. Sunscreen, wear your sunscreen. It gets hot, even if it says it's only 85 degrees or whatever. Um, Also, the Caltopo, we recommend everybody has that on their body when they're running. It's just so much. It's like a good peace of mind. It's easy. It works in airplane mode. It's just helpful. We do our best to mark everything as best we can, and hopefully you don't need it at all. But there might be times where if you're moving slower, you don't notice a ribbon for a couple times, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Am I on course?" It's good to have that peace of mind. You look down, it's like, "Yep, I'm here. I'm good. Just keep going." So I've been a big proponent of that moving since I've started using it a couple years ago. It's super helpful, but um, not mandatory. We just highly recommend it. Um, Moving on to our medical. So we have a medical team that's been with us now. I think this is their fourth year at Mogollon. They're called MedStar Solutions. Your bib will have their number on it. It's like a 24-hour hotline that calls them directly. Somebody who works for the company locally will answer that. And then they will dispatch as needed. We ask that you call them first if you need it. If you can't get a hold of me, my number should be online. If not, I'll make sure everybody has it. So you could either text me or call them. I'm there the entire 38 hours. So we ask that you call us first. Obviously, if it's a dire emergency and something serious has happened, 911 is always probably the best option there. It's just we know where things are sometimes a lot better than when you're trying to explain it to somebody who you don't know where you are and then they don't know what you're trying to explain, and it can get a little convoluted. So anyway, there'll be two teams. So because the top of the rim and the bottom of the rim are so distinct that the one team will be on top of the rim and they'll kind of just follow the heart of the race, and they'll be like present at certain areas and aid stations. They'll be there. And the same thing on the bottom of the rim. We'll have them kind of wait at certain aid stations, but also be available to go out to the next aid station and just kind of follow that group along. So if you see MedStar Solutions, if you need anything, holler, wave them down if you see them driving or anything. But we're there. And then we have staff kind of doing the same thing at morning and at night. We'll kind of follow the race. I'll be on the bottom of the rim throughout the day. And then we have Mike in the morning on top. And then we have Noel as well. So we'll have guys out there basically there to help you and help your crew if crews have any questions or anything like that. But those roaming two medical crews will be out there kind of following the race along. And then they'll probably post up at certain aid stations here and there for help too. Crews and pacers. I've gone over this. There's a whole section on the website about crews and pacers. Well, crews specifically, excuse me. Jamil and I talked about this in our podcast a couple weeks ago, which hopefully you saw. It's on YouTube under the Aravaipa thing. I think I posted it here under the news. Yeah, it's right here. So if you guys didn't get a chance to see this has some other info on the history of the race. And we talked about, Jamil went up and ran the first 42 miles. So he talked about that experience, and we just kind of talked about how we're moving along with the race and everything. But back to the cruise, this is the driving directions. When you open it, there's a QR code and then also a clickable link. So I would obviously recommend printing this just because of service, and then you can scan the QR code, but you also have written directions for everything. But that's kind of, I'll show you really quick here. So it's basic info. And then these are the QR codes. And then this is like one of the crew zones. It shows you where you start and stop. and you can scan these and click these. Um, but most of them are pretty easy to get to. The driving on the rim is surprisingly it's pretty smooth. So on the eastern edge of the rim, it's actually a little rougher. There will be some rocks and stuff you have to get around, but I definitely see sedans go through there. We just recommend high clearance because it's just such an easier ride. You don't have to really be worried about it, but you don't need 4x4. Um, we just like to be cautious with what people are comfortable with. So like high clearance is obviously the best route there. Um, so yeah, we have certain specific points, and then cruise, like we said, we've talked about this in the podcast, but I'll mention it again here in case you didn't see it. There are 3 crew zones, cruise only zones, where we're allowing crews to visit their runner without an aid station there. We have people that'll be stationed there to kind of make sure you guys aren't parking like fools all over the road and stuff like that. But we we're trying something new. I've had it at a race before that I did, a 100 miler, and it was nice to see somebody. We understand if you don't have a crew, this creates a different kind of challenge for you. But our goal is, if you are a crew, maybe you offer, whoever, other supplies as well. If they want to have somebody who might not have a crew, maybe they need a drink or something. It's not a lot of space in between those zones. It's like 5 miles and then a crew zone, and then 6 miles and a crew zone, and then the next aid station's only 3 or 4 miles. So it's not like we're making you not have an aid station for 20 miles without a crew. It's just something we're trying because the way the rim is set up, it just doesn't allow for a ton of parking in certain places, especially our aid stations. It's very limited parking, and this allows us to offer more access points to you and your crew. Um, I think that's it. I guess the big thing with crews too is, I reiterate this kind of all over the place, is just do not block the road at all to impede traffic. It is super important. This is something that the rangers are always looking for, is to make sure we're not impeding traffic, and that, just picture a fire truck being able to get in and out, and that would be what we need to have a minimum of that clearance on each side of the road. And just be smart. Like, I understand you're trying to see your runner and you think you're only going to be there for a few minutes. Sometimes it takes longer. And then all of a sudden there's a car stranded on the side of the road. We can't find the person who's looking for it. So just be courteous of everybody else out there is all we ask. We're trying this as like a thing to open up to the teams and the runners. And we just want to make sure it's successful this year and for everybody running after this. Just a couple more things. The weather, I mentioned it before, it's going to be warm during the day. I've seen anywhere up to 90 plus on the bottom of the rim. My specific points, I would say that'll be hot for a lot of you, would be coming into Horton at mile 20, and then from Horton to Myrtle. So and specifically the high line from mile 32 to 42 ish, or 30 to 42, it's just hot, it's exposed, and then you're climbing. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're hydrated and that you're actually carrying enough water. So they are longer stretches. If you only have one handheld, you're going to run out of water. Like, we would love it if you had vests on, since they are longer stretches, and it's kind of a cumulative thing. If you run out of water early, you're playing catch up, and you're also killing your body by running harder and harder throughout the day. And frankly, the course doesn't get much easier for the first 40 miles. And then even then, there's difficult parts throughout the race. So we want you to be prepared. We want you to be successful. We'll do everything we can to make sure that happens, but you have to take responsibility as well and make sure that you carry stuff that you need. So make sure you have, stuff to keep you cool, nutrition, food, water. You also have warm clothes at night, and you have a headlamp to make sure you're ready to go through the night so you don't run into that issue. Like, all of these things are on you for responsibility, and then we're just here to facilitate your finish. Last thing, volunteers. We're still looking for volunteers. If you know anybody that's out there, if you have crews or anybody, great way to see people that, if it's a non-crewable zone, is they could volunteer at an aid station. They can get some volunteer credits, get some swag, see their runner, and also help out everybody else. We would appreciate it, or just spread the word. There's certain things. Most of the aid stations were okay, but we have different things you can check out online. I think that's it. I don't want to, like I said, that was probably already 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but thank you, everybody. I hope that's most of the things. We'll send out a runner email, I think tomorrow, or at worst it would be, tomorrow would be Wednesday, and then Thursday would be the worst option. I'd love to have like all the bibs and everything for you guys so you can plan. And then we'll see everybody Friday night or at the race on Saturday in Pine. So thank you, everybody. Safe travels, and we'll see you soon.